Seahawks Today coming up in just a moment, but first, we are less than 200 subscribers away from 40,000 on Seahawks Today as we wrap up our sub-battle this month between us and the 49ers report. They got a bit of the edge this month. 2,000 subscribers. We're at 1,300. We need that final push. Let's finish strong. Let's get the job done and win the NFC West right here, right now. Subscribe for free, and we'll get started with this edition of Seahawks Today. The waiver wire has passed us. Roster cut-down day is over. Now we turn our attention to see who your Seattle Seahawks could end up signing before they begin the 2023 season. I have the top 5 players most likely for Seattle to sign before the season begins. Let's set the scene for you before we reveal this list. When you look at the Seattle Seahawks team, bottom line is this. Seattle is very close to being a complete football team. The way that they have reworked this roster over the last 2 years, John Schneider and Pete Carroll have done a fantastic job. But there's one glaring weakness, and that is the depth on the defensive line, and in particular, the ability to stop the run. You look at this group, it is an improvement, no doubt about it. Mario Edwards, Jaron Reed, Draymond Jones, 3 new starters expected if the season were to begin today. But there's some obvious question marks, as you can see, of the players behind them, of being good enough to step into those roles, whether it comes as a rotational piece or an injury, whatever it may be. It's clearly not good enough. So, with that said, who could Seattle sign? Let's start with Isaiah Mack, a familiar name to Seattle Seahawks fans at the defensive tackle position. His time with the Seahawks was short-lived, but nonetheless, this is a guy that's still waiting for his opportunity to prove what he's really got. He's been a journeyman playing for Tennessee, New England, Denver, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, as well as the Jets and Washington. Last year, signed with Seattle on December 25th, was ultimately waived on January 13th. And if you look at his career Pro Football Focus grades, fascinating. I think this kind of gets overlooked with Isaiah Mack. In his overall defensive grade in 2021, he registered an 86.8. And his pass rush grade was an 84.7. Really good. Just a couple of years ago. Not that long ago, and not to mention he knows the Seahawks defensive system from being here previously. The statistics don't necessarily tell the whole story. As you can see, his playing time has been limited over the last 4 seasons. Hasn't got that chance to show how good he actually can be. But here's the deal. I look at Isaiah Mack, and I think that he has shown some potential. The potential is there for him to be a quality player, but he's never been really given that chance. Now, you potentially bring him back to Seattle, make him that rotational piece. This could be a sneaky good find for the Seattle Seahawks potentially. So, what do you think? Should the Seahawks sign Isaiah Mack? Weigh in the comment section. Y for yes, in for no. What do you think? Should the Seahawks make a move here on Mack? Let me know. Number 2 on our list, we turn our attention to Bravvion Roy, the nose tackle. And Roy, a name you may not be familiar with, but that's where I come in to tell you more about him. Previously played with the Carolina Panthers as well as the Chicago Bears. And what's fascinating with Roy here, this is a guy that has the size to play the nose guard position, which is ultimately what Seattle is looking for. 6'1", 330. He's shown the ability to get pressure on the quarterback, and he's played a little bit over the past 3 seasons, 15 games to be exact, so close to a full season over these last 3, but still a great unknown of some sorts. This would be an experiment. And here's what I'm looking at with this Seahawks team. We talked about that depth chart earlier. When you factor in Jaron Reed at that nose tackle spot, you cannot expect him to play every snap. And what Roy can come in and do with his ability to get pressure on the quarterback, this is going to be a situation where Reed gets some relief of sorts when Roy comes in, giving him a few plays off in a breather of some sorts, because that's just not a realistic possibility. And right now, where the Seahawks are stacking up, they are going to ask of that of Jarran Reed to try to play as much as he possibly can, and that's just an unrealistic expectation. Roy, in his career, 45 games played, has totaled 76 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 8 QB hits. So still very young and unproven at this point. You look at the numbers from PFF, and they're not anything crazy. 54 overall grade, run defense grade, not that great. Tackle grade certainly stands out at 75.3 and a pass rush grade of 60.9. Watch out for Bravvion Roy to be a possibility for Seattle. Next up is Justin Ellis at the nose tackle position. And Ellis has played for a few teams across the National Football League, and some of those teams have included the Las Vegas Raiders, the Baltimore Ravens, the New York Football Giants, and the Atlanta Falcons. And the thing that I look at with Justin Ellis, as we go through the scouting report and read up on him, this is a massive human being we're talking about. 6'2", 350 pounds. This dude is a big fella. I can tell you that much. He's had a few pancakes, to put it mildly. Now, with Justin Ellis, you're going to get a guy that's not going to be much help in the pass rush, but what he's going to do with that size that he brings to the table, he has the ability to eat up blockers with his size and take those guys on, be kind of like a decoy of some sorts, if that makes sense. And you're looking at a guy, we mentioned he's played for 4 different teams. He's got 9 years of NFL experience. So this is a guy that should be able to come right in and get acclimated right away with this Seahawks defense. It should not take him long to adapt and find a role with this Seattle defense with what he's been able to do with several different teams throughout his career in his 9 years that he's played. The numbers for Justin Ellis, last season, 22 tackles, 2.5 sacks, two tackles for loss, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. Nothing crazy, but he did play in all 17 games over the last 2 years. Got some more exciting names to get to in just a second. But first, I want you to name a player the Seahawks should sign. Who's somebody that they should turn their attention to before the season begins? Give me a name. Drop it. Name them in the comments section, and let me know who those are in the comments section below. Look, folks, we got Seahawks hats available right now. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats with a wide variety of several different hats that are out there right now. And here's the deal. Hats, folks, we have some hats out there that are on sale for up to 50% off. And it's not too early. I know it's still a little hot outside, but it's not too early to start thinking about the winter months as well. There's some beanies on there and several different options. You can get yours today. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats, whether you like the throwback, the current style, whatever it may be. There's plenty of options for you. You can get yours today. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats to get yours now while supplies last. Take advantage of that 50% off deal. Next up is Akiem Hicks, who's probably the most notable name on this entire list of players that we are talking about today, but obviously we had to build up to get to this point. But Akiem Hicks previously played with New Orleans, New England, Chicago, most recently with Tampa Bay, and he was a Pro Bowler back in 2018. And when you look at the career of Akiem Hicks, I think this is a great way to summarize it. He has been one of the most disruptive interior forces in the entire National Football League. Sure, maybe he's not the same player that he was in 2018 when he was a Pro Bowler, but he still has something left to offer. And the Bucs, we heard from Todd Bowles during the offseason, they wanted him back in Tampa Bay. He's still available at this point in time for somebody out there, including Seattle. You look at the statistics, and you can see last year in 11 games played, he had 22 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. His numbers have been okay, not what they once were, but he's not a bad football player by any means. And when we talk about schematically of where this could work for the Seattle Seahawks, when we talk about the emphasis of the run defense and trying to find help there, Hicks is an excellent solution for the Seahawks run defense. And you can do it with a cheap one-year deal. That's the thing with all these guys we're talking about today. You don't have to pay a ton of money, and that includes Akiem Hicks here. So to me, that's what I really like, is not only a guy that, has played at a Pro Bowl level, that's been such a disruptor like that, but directly helps what you're looking for. And for the questions about age, what he still has to offer at this point, Todd Bowles, his last head coach there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, said this about him last season. He made his presence known. He's helped everybody else make plays. He got all those guys some extra pressures by eating up double teams and taking on blocks, and we expect him to get better and better every week. So sounds like pretty good endorsement there for Akiem Hicks from Todd Bowles there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You don't have to take my word for it. You can take Todd Bowles' word for it, though. Should the Seahawks sign Akiem Hicks? What do you think? Weigh in the comment section. S for sign, P for pass, if you think the Seahawks should bring him in or not. Last player on our top 5 free agent targets for your Seattle Seahawks, a guy we've talked about on this channel before. He is still available in free agency, which just blows my mind, and that is Matt Ioannidis at the defensive tackle spot. How is he still available right now? Previously played with the Commanders and the Panthers, and this is somebody that can play on all 3 downs against the run and the pass. Some of the guys we talked about earlier were options of situational football. If, this guy's good against the run, or this guy's good at getting at the quarterback, or just a rotational piece. Ioannidis, if you asked him to, he could be a starter. He's a starter quality defensive lineman. Hard-nosed, blue-collar mentality in the trenches. Simply put, he's gritty, right? Everybody could use some gritty football players. And I think about it this way. Everyone knows you got to have a wingman, right? I mean, you have to have somebody by your side to get you through thick and thin. And Ioannidis is a great wingman. He can occupy space. He can eat up blockers so others can go out there and make plays. He's not going to have the sexy stat sheet. You have to go all the way back to 2019 when he had 8.5 sacks to find that sexy stat sheet of sorts. But he's going to do the little things that aren't going to show up on that stat sheet and let guys like Draymond Jones and others shine in that regard. So watch out for Matt Ioannidis as a potential option for the Seahawks before the season begins. So to recap our potential free agent targets for Seattle, they include Isaiah Mack, Bravvion Roy, Justin Ellis, Akiem Hicks, and Matt Ioannidis for Seattle. We'll see if they sign any of these 5 players before the season begins next week against the Los Angeles Rams. Head over to our Raiders Report channel where Mitchell Renz is live all day today, and he's getting a Raiders leg tattoo. You can see this in progress right now, and I would say go over there, and you got to give him a hard time about the Seahawks poaching away Drake Thomas this week. Head over there, check it out. They're doing a Madden sim today as well for Raiders and Saints for the Derek Carr revenge game. They're having a great time over there. You got to see this for yourself. Tell them that Tyler Jones sent you, and go check that out over on the Raiders Report. They're live all day today. And make sure to subscribe to our channel here at Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team. We got you covered. We're counting down to kickoff. We are on the verge of 40,000 subscribers. Join the family, and we'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.